You might know a lot about the Villages, Florida, but perhaps you don't know the things that I'm about to tell you. Today I'm going to work my way from the very north of the Villages to the very south to teach you 5 lesser-known things that you might not know about this community. Our first fact is that the Villages was not always called the Villages. It started off as a neighborhood called Orange Blossom Gardens. More specifically, it started off as a mobile home park founded by a man named Harold Schwartz. Back in 1959, an acre of pasture land in Central Florida cost around $150. While Walt Disney was busy snapping up land to the south near Orlando to build his theme park, Harold Schwartz was buying thousands of acres here in the area that is now the Villages for future development. In 1983, Schwartz partnered with his son-in-law, Gary Morse, who fancied up the concept and turned what was a humble mobile home park into a thriving neighborhood with recreation and amenities. And the name was changed from Orange Blossom Gardens to the Villages. As you can see, Orange Blossom Gardens still exists as an integral part of the Villages community. One of its highlights is the water tower at Orange Blossom Hills Golf and Country Club, which is somewhat of a local landmark in the area. You'll notice the manufactured homes, the narrower streets, and in general, a different look and feel from the rest of the Villages. Regardless, Orange Blossom Gardens is still just as much of the Villages as anywhere else. And if you're looking to get into the Villages lifestyle without spending too much money, you might consider one of the manufactured homes that was built here during the mid-90s. You might also notice that as time goes by, some of the manufactured homes are getting torn down and replaced with custom homes. From these humble beginnings as a mobile home park, the Villages has grown into the largest retirement community in the world. And that's a fact you probably did know. Our next fact is that the Villages has a polo club, and I'm there right now. When I first heard that the Villages has a polo club, I thought to myself, what? Back in 1995, Gary Morse was invited to a polo match in Barbados. He so enjoyed the sport that he decided to bring it back to the Villages with him. Kind of like the most expensive souvenir ever. Morse brought in experts from the nearby Oxford Polo Club to help coordinate the creation of the Villages Polo Club. Today, the Villages Polo Club, with its 2 beautifully maintained polo fields, is one of the most unique amenities in the Villages. It brings the excitement of world-class polo here to the Villages community. During polo matches, you can tailgate in your golf carts with your friends, which is especially fun. There's also grandstand seating and a highly social atmosphere. Okay, I promised you facts you didn't know, and if you live in the Villages, you probably know about the Polo Club. But did you know that you can come here to take riding and, in fact, polo lessons? There are even hitting cages where you can practice your swing. I've never tried lessons here, but I assume it's not BYOH. Our next fact is a quick one, and it's about the retention ponds here at the Villages. I'm at one now, so if you see a gator sneaking up behind me, please yell at the screen. Some of these retention ponds are water hazards on golf courses, full of golf balls. Others are for decoration. But there's another reason that the ponds are here. There's always a chance, albeit a low one, that the Villages may flood. During hurricane season, you might be riding along the road in a rainstorm, and you'll notice that the sprinklers are on full tilt. You might be surprised. You might even be a little bit angry. Why are they running the sprinklers like this in the middle of a rainstorm? The reason is, they're draining the reservoirs in case of flooding. When the hurricane arrives, these ponds and reservoirs will have enough room to allow in any runoff water that is moving too quickly to be absorbed by the ground. Now that's something that I didn't know before moving to Florida. Here's our next fact. The Villages town squares were designed by FORREC, a Canadian company known for its immersive experiential design. FORREC has designed immersive experiences for places like Universal's Islands of Adventure, Legoland Shanghai, Japan, and Korea, and Nickelodeon Universe. In general, FORREC works on creating spaces that transport the person experiencing them to another world. That's why when you arrive at Spanish Springs, Lake Sumter Landing, or Brownwood Paddock Square, it might feel a little bit like stepping into a storybook. Here in Spanish Springs, as with the other town squares, you'll find little placards sprinkled throughout the area that tell of a history that never existed. This one indicates that the building used to be the Sevilla Hotel, built in the year 1900. There's a whole long history to the place, including that there were once bullet holes in the ceiling. Of course, this never actually happened. Spanish Springs was constructed in 1994. While I'm on the topic of immersive experiences, here in Spanish Springs Town Square, they've dyed the water pink. That's because it's October, which is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Here at Lake Sumter Landing, you'll find more stories of a history that never really existed. Where Spanish Springs evoked memories of an old Spanish town, Lake Sumter Landing tells stories about a coastal town from the early 1900s. Here, on the wall of the radio station building, you'll find the story of the Mercury Telegraph Office that was opened in 1883. Did you know that the ice cream store used to be a bait and tackle shop? Spoiler alert, it was not. It can be quite immersive. In fact, when I arrived at the trolley tracks that are on the sidewalks, I actually stopped and looked both ways before remembering that there were never any trolleys running through this place. Moving south to Brownwood, which was built around 2012, the atmosphere is that of an old western town and invokes Florida's history. There are bronze statues, a rustic windmill, and local buildings that are designed to match the theme. At one point, they even had a pasture of steers here, not because anyone was raising them for business purposes, but simply for the decor. Now that is commitment. It really does make living in the villages feel a bit like living in a theme park. Fortunately, you don't have to meet any sort of minimum height requirement in order to get into the rec centers. Just your village's ID. Maybe one day we'll get armbands. Now I'm at Sawgrass Grove, which is more of a gathering place than a town square, but it still has its share of thematic elements. The theme here at Sawgrass Grove is orange groves, which is something that made Florida famous back in its early days. As a Florida aside, it was sunny at Brownwood, and it took about 15 minutes for me to drive from there to here. During that drive, I went through a very dark rainstorm. Now here I am at Sawgrass Grove, and it's sunny again. That's very typical for Florida. And now I'm at Eastport. As promised, we've moved from the very north end of the villages down to the very south. And this is my final fact, Eastport. It's not really a fact, but many people don't know much about it. Its theme will eventually be European, but its current theme is construction. The name Eastport was inspired by a place called Eastport on Grand Traverse Bay in Michigan. This reflects the Morse family's roots and their tradition of naming places in the villages after places in that area. Eastport will offer dining, shopping, and entertainment, but with a few new twists. It is designed to highlight nature with walking trails, green spaces, and scenic overlooks. While at the other town squares, the water is often beside the town square, at Eastport, the water will be within the town square, and the town square will in some ways wrap around it. There's also Sunset Island that you can access by a bridge where you can sit to watch the nightly entertainment. You'll also be able to rent kayaks to paddle around the lake, and there will be dragon boat racing. Meanwhile, the recreation center, Olympia Recreation, will be unique. I've been to most of the larger recreational centers in the villages, and generally, while their themes may be different, they seem quite similar. This one will have a fit club, arts and crafts rooms, and a theater, like other recreation centers, but it will also have some added amenities. These will include an indoor climbing wall, plus indoor badminton, volleyball, basketball, and pickleball. Wait, indoor pickleball? I'm so there! Here's another interesting fact about Eastport. It's located to the south of the villages, not the east, and it's also not a port. That's okay, because the original Eastport in Michigan is east of Northport, and Central Lake is east of Eastport. There's also a town called Westwood, which is southeast of Eastport. In related news, I'm really glad they invented satellite navigation. So those are my not so well-known facts about the villages of Florida. If you knew these, then you must know a heck of a lot about the villages. If there's ever a villages trivia night, I want you on my team. If you'd like to learn more about what's happening in the villages, please subscribe, because that's what I'm here for. And if you're interested in moving to, from, or within the villages, please let me know. I'm a licensed Florida realtor, and I work in the villages with a team of experts, so please reach out, because we're here to help. Sorry, I gotta run. I need to find out when those indoor pickleball courts are gonna be ready.